Liberty Man here, Libertas, for those of you that have an eighth grade education, that is Latin for Liberty Man. So it's been a while since I've done a podcast for various reasons, but two things caught my attention today that I just couldn't um, not speak up about. The first one is birthright citizenship. So, um, for those of you that don't know me or have never heard any of my podcasts, I'm an award-winning constitutional historian. We don't deal with philosophies or ideologies, parties, any of those things. We deal with documents. That's what a historian does, is you go find the documents and let the documents speak for themselves. So today we're going to look at birthright citizenship. And as usual, as much as possible, we try to show you the original documents themselves. So we're going to share screen here, and I can pull it up. This article caught my attention today. It says Professor Alan Dershowitz says blanket birthright citizenship is foolish, but it's in the Constitution. Really? I have not seen the term birthright citizenship anywhere. So I beg to differ, Mr. Dershowitz, on your premise. So I'm not going to, you can, you know, go look this up yourself. It's right there on Breitbart News. And if it's, this is years down the line, you can just go back and you can um, search it and it'll still come up. It'll be there forever. So the Constitution itself, dealing with the principle of birthright citizenship, is very simple. It's the 14th Amendment, and they say this is where you get birthright citizenship. First thing to understand when you're talking about the Constitution, you have to understand why it's written, what is called the letter and the intent of the law. The letter of the law is how it's worded. The intent behind the law is the governing factor. Hopefully that's simple enough for you. Why was there a 14th Amendment? Who was it talking to? Who were the people that this is addressing? Is it applicable today? But we also have to understand the words that are used, and they have to be explained by the definition of the words as they were understood by the people that wrote it. I like to use this as an analogy. The word gay means something totally different in our culture today than it did when our constitutional laws were written. So we can't take the modern definition of that word and its terminology and all the things that it's been blown up into and put it into a document that was written 200 and something years ago and have it mean the same thing. What did it mean to the people that wrote it? Now, with that in mind, where do we find that out? One book, one source. It's called the American Dictionary of the English Language. Not the Dictionary of the English Language, but the American Dictionary. Big difference. You have to know the definition of the terms that were used by the people that wrote it. This book is the only one that defines those words. The modern dictionaries have been amended to mean something totally different. And we're going to see that in some of the definitions we're going to look at here. The Merriam-Webster dictionary was rewritten in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and then we had the American Board of Education that totally redefined America in and of itself. That's why we don't know these things. We just hadn't been taught it. So that's where we come in. So the 14th Amendment was part of three amendments immediately following the Civil War: the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment. So these three amendments are also called the Slavery Amendments. The 13th Amendment says neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Very simple. No more slavery. It's done. It's over in any jurisdiction or areas that are subject to American jurisdiction, like Guam. It's a U.S. territory. It's subject to the laws of the United States. People there just don't have a vote for a voting member of Congress. They do have a representative, but not a voting representative. Same thing with Puerto Rico. A lot of people want Puerto Rico to become a state. That's a different topic for a different day, and it can be done, but you got to get all the states to go along with it. Anyway, so they got rid of slavery. Now, the next one deals with what to do with these people now that they're not slaves anymore. They've been born here, they've been living here for generations and hundreds of years. So now all of a sudden they're free. What do we do with them? All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject, okay? All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No, reside. No, we're not going to get into the rest of that because it's all just mumbo jumbo for what we're looking at today. That's important, but they have all the rights of citizenship: life, liberty, and property, due process of law, um, equal protection of the laws. Okay, so, and then you have the 15th Amendment, the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Slavery. Slavery is the reason for these amendments. Okay? It's within the confines of slavery and what to do with all of these millions of people that are now given citizenship. Okay? Outside of this, it's not applicable. Hmm. Or is it? Hmm. We're going to look at a dictionary and we're going to find out. So we're going to go over here. And the first word here is born. All persons, anybody born. You can see here, I've got this online, American Dictionary of the English Language, and it's very easy to search. And so you look at the word born. We don't care about what the modern dictionary says about it. We want to know the constitutional definition of it. To be born is to be produced or brought into life. A man is born to trouble. A man born a prince or a beggar. It is followed by of before the mother or ancestors. A man that is born of woman is a few days and full of trouble. Look at this. Why is there a verse of scripture in a definition or an explanation of a definition and a constitution and a law dictionary? We're going to get into that in the next thing in detail. But here, this is a verse of scripture, Job 14:1, and it's used to define born. It's to be produced and brought into life. Up here it says a very useful distinction is a verb observed by good authors who, in the sense of produced or brought forth, write this word born, but in the sense of carried, write it borne, like carry a box, carry your luggage. This is different. Orthography renders obvious the difference of pronunciation. Anyway, man is born of a woman. It's right here, right here. It's got a mother. But then it's also born again. Why does the American language, why is it defined by the new birth as well? Pretty interesting, huh? I say unto you, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. There it is. So that's where we see born, brought to life. Where were you brought to life? Makes a difference, right? That's what we're talking about. What people are arguing, and Dr. Dershowitz is arguing, that if a illegal immigrant, so is the topic, if they make it across the Rio Grande River and they land on the beach and they pop out a baby, that baby automatically becomes a citizen by birth of the United States of America. Sounds pretty stupid, doesn't it? So the next word we're going to look at is naturalized. What does that mean? To confer on an alien the rights and privileges of a native subject or citizen, to adopt foreigners into a nation or state and place them in the condition of natural born subjects. Huh. So to naturalize someone, you were either born or naturalized. Okay. To confer on an alien the rights and privileges of a native born subject or citizen. Here, this is what we're going to get into. This word is the coup de grace. But to naturalize somebody is to confer on an alien the rights and privileges of a native subject or citizen. Okay? Just because you were born here, like I said, you got an immigrant, and they can be a legal immigrant. It doesn't matter if they're illegal or legal. But just because you land in an airport and you make it out of the terminal and have a baby on the sidewalk in New York and you're from Germany, that doesn't make that child a citizen of the United States. Everybody knows that all around the world. It's almost impossible for an American citizen to move to Mexico and become a naturalized citizen of Mexico. I mean, it's doable, but it ain't easy. It's really hard. They're really stingy with their citizenship. To confer on an alien the rights and privileges of a native, subject, or citizen. To adopt foreigners into a nation or state and place them in the condition of natural born subjects. Naturalized is invested with the privileges of natives, rendered easy and familiar, adapted to a climate, acclimated, received as native. Okay, a native, this is invested with the privileges of natives. Sorry, American Indians, but I'm a Native American. I was born here of American citizens. That makes me a Native American. Okay. You can say whatever you want, but that still makes me a Native American. But to be naturalized is to give the privilege of being a native to a foreigner. You have to work for it. You have to earn it. You can't just get it because somebody dropped you on the beach. Naturalization. The act of investing an alien with the rights and privileges of a native subject or citizen. Naturalization in Great Britain is only by act of Parliament. In the United States, it is by act of Congress, vested with certain tribunals with power. So you got to go through an act of Congress and a tribunal to become a naturalized citizen. It takes 7 years at least to become a naturalized citizen. Then you have to swear an oath. So let's go over here and look at citizen. The native of a city or an inhabitant who enjoys the freedom and privileges of the city in which he resides. The free man of a city as distinguished from a foreigner. A citizen is distinguished from a foreigner or one not entitled with its franchises. Franchises is another word for vote. In the United States, a person native or naturalized, not foreign or alien, only a person native or naturalized who has the privilege of exercising the elective franchise or the qualifications which enable him to vote for rulers and to purchase and hold real estate. If the citizens of the United States should not be free and happy, the fault will be entirely their own. Huh. Citizen, adjective, having the qualities of a citizen. This is pretty simple, folks. A citizen is somebody that qualifies to have the privilege to vote. Look at a couple other things here. Citizenship. The state of being vested with the rights and privileges of a citizen, meaning you can vote, you can own property. The Bill of Rights applies to you. We had an adopted mother-in-law. I had an adopted mother-in-law. We adopted her, she adopted us, kind of thing. We would go over to take her to the Netherlands to visit her family on a regular basis. She was like 94 when she passed on. Anyway, when I go over there, when me and my wife would go over there, we're not Dutch citizens. If you break the law over there, it's severe. It's really bad. I mean, the police over there, they're all business. They're 100% business. They are not polite. They are gruff. They are stern, and they are powerful. You don't mess with them. I'm an American citizen. Don't mean nothing to them. So the citizen of the world stuff is that is not reality. Anyway, the state of being vested with the rights and privileges of citizens. Now, subject. Here we see as being under the power or dominion of another, as Jamaica is subject to Great Britain. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Therein lies the rub. And the answer. It's not hard, folks. I'm just getting into all the little minutia and driving this home. And I'll take this to the Supreme Court of the United States. I would love to. Just somebody sue me. Let's get this over with. But if you're not learning, if you don't learn this in first grade, that's where I learned it. First grade textbook. First Lessons in Civil Government, Andrew Wright Young, 1841. First grade book. First grade textbook. Also, Elementary Catechisms on the Constitution by Arthur J. Stansbury, descendant of the famous financial guy today, or forebear. Subject, noun, Latin, from its Latin use. One that owes allegiance to a sovereign and is governed by his laws. So a subject is what? One that owes allegiance to a sovereign and is governed by his laws. The natives of Great Britain are subjects of the British government. The natives of Guatemala are subject to the government of Guatemala. Panama, Venezuela, Mexico, Haiti, you name it, any other country where you're a native born citizen are subject to that country. Where do you owe your allegiance? You owe your allegiance to someone that you have sworn allegiance to. Newborn baby that's born on the beach or the shore or sandbar of the Rio Grande has no allegiance to anybody but his parents. He is subject to his parents and their jurisdiction. You got to be 21 years old back then to vote. Up until that time, you are subject to your parents, who are subject to whatever. The natives of the United States and naturalized foreigners are subjects of the federal government. The natives of the United States and naturalized foreigners, this is the key right here, naturalized foreigners Not any foreigner, just naturalized foreigners. Dr. Dershowitz, you should have read the dictionary. See, my argument is very simple. You want to argue with the dictionary? I'm not smart enough to figure this stuff out, nor do I have the time. The natives of the United States and naturalized foreigners are subjects of the federal government. Men in free governments are subjects as well as citizens. And as citizens, they enjoy rights and franchises. As subjects, they are bound to obey the laws. The verb of subject is to bring under the power or dominion of. Alexander subjected a great part of the world to his dominion. I don't think we need to go any further. All persons born, people whose mother gave birth to them, or naturalized citizens in the United States, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. A subject is somebody whose allegiance belongs to someone else. This does not apply to foreigners in any way, shape, or form. We just saw that under citizen. Citizens have no rights in this country. Excuse me, foreigners. Foreigners are not citizens. Foreigners have no rights in this country. This was a misconstruing, which means defining something that it doesn't matter. Just because you are in this country does not mean you are a subject of this country. The definition shows you the difference between England and us. So, does just being born on our soil does not give you the right to birthright citizenship. There is no birthright citizenship other than if your parents are subjects that have sworn allegiance to this country. Even someone whose parents are green card holders still have to go through the naturalization process to become citizens. They do not automatically become citizens until they're minors and their parents go through the naturalization process to become citizens. That's another thing. You can go back and look it up. But anyway, just using the dictionary, people, to define the terms and understanding who wrote it and the intent, the intent of the and letter of the law is really simple. So, Dr. Dershowitz, I would love to face you in court. Please call me and sue me, and let's get this before the courts. And with that, God bless. You're the best. And wait for this next one on the controversy with NAACP suing the states that want to have the Bible and the Ten Commandments in their schools.